Hello and welcome to NewPod. You open a document. A notification appears, then a message. A few minutes later, you can no longer remember what you meant to write. Today, we are talking about days when attention seems to scatter everywhere. This is not about blaming yourself or achieving perfect focus. We will look at what breaks our attention apart, then create better conditions for moving forward.
It is a very ordinary scene. You begin with a clear intention. Then your phone lights up. A tab reminds you of another task, and an idea crosses your mind. You follow it for a moment, and the original context fades. By the end, you were busy, even very active, but feel you made no progress. That gap can be discouraging, but it does not automatically mean you lack willpower or commitment.
Attention is not a switch that stays on forever. It changes. Sleep and stress matter. Your surroundings can support effort or make it harder. The difficulty of a task matters, as does your interest in it. A clear, engaging task does not use the mind like one that feels vague, unpleasant, or intimidating. These changes are part of daily life. Observe them before judging them.
An occasional drop in focus is not enough to identify a disorder. A bad night, a stressful period, a noisy room, or a poorly defined task can make attention unstable. You can notice the difficulty without labeling it right away. This keeps a hard day from becoming a verdict about who you are. It also leaves room for simple adjustments that fit what is happening now.
Picture a realistic morning. Someone sits down to prepare a report after little sleep. The desk is cluttered, messages stay open, and the report has a broad title but no clear next step. Soon, they check a message, move a file, open a page, and return. Saying only, "I cannot focus," turns several separate causes into one accusation. Those causes can be examined one by one.
Yes, poor sleep may have reduced available energy. The environment may create too many demands. The task may be unclear, while stress keeps part of the mind on alert. None of this is a moral failure. The goal is not to find an excuse, but to understand the real conditions of effort. Once obstacles are separated, a concrete next move becomes easier to choose.
Notifications are a common obstacle. They may seem to take only a second, but they move attention toward new information. Even without answering, you have read a few words and created an expectation. The interruption is not only the time spent looking at the screen. It is also the mental context switch. Then you must recover what you were doing and why.
Multiple tabs create similar fragmentation. Each one is an open possibility, an article, a search, a purchase, or a message. Even when still, they remind you of competing intentions. Switching feels especially tempting when the main task becomes uncomfortable. It brings brief relief, but leaves several threads hanging. Returning means rebuilding the abandoned logic, sentence, or decision.
Repeated checking matters too, looking for a message, refreshing a page, or checking information you already saw. It can become nearly automatic and rarely reflects a real emergency. It mainly offers an instant break when effort feels unpleasant. Do not attack yourself for it. Treat it as a signal. Perhaps the task is hard, a break is needed, or distractions are simply too easy to reach.
That idea changes the goal. You do not need to prove you can resist every demand. Reduce the demands you can. If the phone is in your hand, conversations appear on screen, and several apps await replies, attention must keep choosing. That is extra work. Changing the environment reduces those decisions. It is not cheating. It is a realistic way to organize the task. The first practical step is to define one observable task for a short period. Say what will actually be done. Open the report and draft the introduction, reread a page and mark corrections, or sort the documents for one request. This creates a visible entry point. Work on the project is too broad. At the moment of action, the mind still has to decide what progress means.
The short period matters too. It makes commitment easier. You are not promising total control of the day, only protecting a realistic window with one main direction. If attention wanders, the period is not ruined. Notice the detour and return. Returning is part of focusing. This view is kinder and more practical because it does not depend on perfect continuity. Next, put the phone out of reach, not merely face down on the desk. Out of reach means you must deliberately stop and go get it. That small distance weakens the automatic habit and creates a second to choose. If the phone is needed, limit what appears and keep only the useful function. The principle is the same. Reduce invitations unrelated to the present moment.
On a computer, closing unnecessary apps has a similar effect. Email need not stay visible while you write. A conversation can wait for the planned message time. Unrelated tabs can be closed or saved for later. The goal is not a perfectly empty screen. It is to make the digital space match your current intention. Fewer open doors mean fewer chances to mentally change rooms.
Once those doors close, ideas often appear. You remember a reply, a purchase, a date, or something to research. The mind tries to keep each item active for fear of forgetting it. Use a sheet of paper as a drop-off point. Write the idea in a few words without handling it. It has not vanished. It simply no longer needs the foreground during the chosen task.
That sheet is not another list to monitor constantly. It is a temporary parking place. At the end of the period, review what you wrote. Some ideas need action. Others will have lost their apparent urgency. The key is not to negotiate with each thought when it appears. Acknowledge it, save it, and return to the main thread before it becomes a long detour.
Messages can have their own time. Knowing that time is reserved for them makes waiting easier. This does not mean ignoring people or always being unavailable. It means not letting every arrival set the schedule. The timing must fit the realities of your day. Even a modest separation between producing and replying can make work much less fragmented.
The sequence is simple. One visible action, a short window, the phone away, and use tools closed, paper for ideas, and a planned time for messages. This will not turn the mind into a machine. Boredom, restlessness, or the wish to escape may remain. The structure only makes returning easier, with fewer escape routes and a clearer main path.
Before blaming weak willpower, check basic needs. Start with sleep. Real fatigue is not always fixed by more pressure. Then consider food, because hunger or discomfort takes up space. Movement matters too. Staying in one position for too long may make a break useful. This check is simple. It treats the body as part of the situation, not an obstacle to silence.
A real break is different from automatic distraction. A chosen break deliberately stops work and can make room to move, eat, breathe, or let tension fall. An unchosen distraction carries attention away and may last far beyond the original need. Work stops in both cases, but the experience differs. Planning a break can prevent you from seeking rest inside an endless stream of stimulating content.
One need is often forgotten: clear instructions. You may have slept, eaten, moved, and put the phone away, yet still freeze before a vague task. Prepare the presentation names neither the first move nor the expected result. Attention may not be the main problem. The mind must make too many hidden decisions before it can start, so escaping to another tab becomes understandable.
Breaking the task down reduces that load. Prepare the presentation becomes: gather useful documents, write the main ideas, choose their order, then create the first section. Every step produces something visible. This may not make the task pleasant, but it clears the fog. You know where to begin, can finish one step, and have a precise object to return to after a detour.
Return to our morning scene. Instead of trying to finish the whole report, the person chooses to reread the introduction and note corrections. They close messages, leave the phone in another room, and keep paper nearby. When a reply comes to mind, they write the recipient's name and return to the current sentence. The change seems small, but the work context is now much more coherent.
If focus still slips, there is no need to declare failure. Look at what happened. The task may be harder than expected, a worry may occupy the mind, a real break may be due, or the checking habit may simply have appeared. Return if you can, otherwise adjust. Practice is less about never losing the thread than noticing sooner and making the return easier.
That is why the goal is not perfect attention for hours. That ideal can create more tension. You start monitoring every thought, movement, and hesitation, and each deviation seems to prove you cannot focus. A more realistic ambition is to create protected periods. They may be imperfect and include many returns. Their value is that one intention gets a steadier place than it has amid constant interruptions.
Protection must remain flexible. Some days offer little quiet. Some duties require you to stay reachable, and some work happens in shared spaces. Choose the lever you have. Silence one non-essential alert, close one tab, write the next action, or tell someone you will respond after finishing a passage. Partial improvement still counts. It does not need to resemble an ideal environment.
Notice when attention holds more easily, not to make a rigid rule, but to identify helpful conditions: fatigue, surrounding noise, the kind and difficulty of the task, and the interest it creates. When possible, place demanding work in better periods. When that is impossible, Strengthen the structure by simplifying the action and reducing avoidable interruptions.
This observation also prevents unfair comparisons. A captivating activity may hold attention easily, while a complex, unclear one scatters it. That does not mean you deliberately focus only on what you enjoy. Interest and difficulty change the effort required. Account for them by breaking unattractive tasks down further, clarifying the result, and removing competing demands before starting.
Stress deserves the same kindness. When several concerns remain active, they consume part of attention. Harsh self-pressure can add another layer of tension. Calmly name what occupies the mind, then choose what is doable now. Put a concern requiring later action on the sheet. If it needs an immediate response, adjust the schedule. The structure serves reality. It does not deny it.
There is an important limit to this everyday approach. If attention problems have lasted a long time, appear in several settings, and seriously affect life, a professional assessment is appropriate. This is more than one fragmented morning or a tired period. A professional can examine the whole situation methodically. Seeking that view is neither a sentence nor an admission of failure.
Self-diagnosis from online content is unreliable. A list or video may feel familiar, but it cannot properly assess duration, context, impact, and other possible explanations. Content can help name an experience. It cannot replace an evaluation. For long-standing, serious difficulties, seeking professional advice is a careful way to take the situation seriously without attaching your own conclusion.
For daily life, remember this practical setup. Choose one visible action and a realistic period. Move the phone away, close what is not useful, park secondary ideas on paper, and set a separate time for messages. Then check sleep, food, movement, breaks, and clarity. No step promises total control. Together, they reduce some avoidable fragmentation.
For your next work period, identify one avoidable interruption and remove it beforehand. One is enough for an experiment, a notification, open email, or the phone beside you. Then choose the next observable action and keep paper for what comes later. Attention may still move and the thread may still slip, but the way back will be shorter, clearer, and less burdened by blame.
Regaining attention does not mean becoming sealed off from the world. Sometimes it means gently protecting what you chose to do, with realistic limits, room for the body's needs, and a task clear enough to begin. It also means asking for help when problems are lasting and serious. Focus need not be perfect to help. Often it only needs a place to return to, one moment at a time.